Battlegrounds tournament. You know the vibes.
Hey, what is up, everybody? How's everybody's night going? We have an unbelievably exciting tournament match here. BeroMan versus Andrewtheruff. That notification was extremely loud in my ears and scared the shit out of me. But we are going to jump straight into this one here pretty soon. Man, I am stoked for it. It's going to be just an unbelievable match. This tournament has turned out way better than I could have ever even expected. I appreciate everybody showing up, showing support for all the competitors, for my stream. It's just been, like I said, it's been sensational. It's been an absolute blast, and I'm just very proud of it and excited to see how this final goes, man. We got BeroMan versus Andrewtheruff. Andrew has he climbed his way through semifinals, climbed back from a 3-0 deficit to beat Stonehenge, and on the flip side, BeroMan, he beat Misery 5-2 in just a pretty dominant fashion. Great play out of both semifinalists, Misery and Stonehenge. Misery ended up taking third place in this tournament. So that is our third place finalist, and now we're looking at who is going to be first and who's going to be second here, man. It's more than exciting, man. It's awesome. So let's go ahead and undevin here. We got Truth Comic. He is a phenomenal streamer. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the best Battleground streamers in the game. He's just such a enjoyable. He's a comedian, man. He's an enjoyable guy to watch. Let's go ahead and undevin. What's up, Truth?
Yeah, what's poppin', brother? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm good. I'm ready. Time.
It is time. We finally have made it. I am going to go refill my water, and we'll be back in the next 30 seconds.
All right, sounds good, man. All right, we're gonna let some more people flood in here. I'm seeing all these chats. Shout out to everybody in here. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. It's a late night stream. This is the best time that we could get for all parties involved. What up to like I said, everybody in chat. I see all of you guys. I appreciate the kind words as well. We got this poll going in chat. We got 87 votes right now. 88. It's going up. We got BeroMan at 53% predicted to be the winner to Andrewtheruff's 47%. It's pretty split between these two. Just two phenomenal opponents, great players. Let's jump over here. We got the streams on each side here. So we're going to have BeroMan on our left and Andrewtheruff on our right. And we will make sure to get everything timed up so that you guys can watch both screens at once. So, yeah, we're just going to kind of wait out a little bit more, let some people join in. I know there's going to be a lot of people watching the VOD on this because it is a bit late. It's a bit early on the European side. It's a bit late on the American side. So, but regardless, we're getting it done. We're making it happen. These two are going for it. So both of them have secured a $300 prize. They're fighting tonight for this $500 prize, first place prize. It's going to be extremely, extremely competitive here. I don't expect either side to dominate either side. I think it's going to be really tight every match. We're going to see a lot of very, very tight scores, and it's really going to come down to one or two probably mistakes from one of these opponents, or it might just be, come down to, one draft or another draft. This is a best of 9, so it's the first to 5 wins here. And yeah, we're just pretty much just going to wait for Truth to get back, and I think we're going to go ahead and let our opponents know that they are ready to rumble.
I am here and ready to rumble as well.
Oh, love to hear it.
If it wasn't 10 o'clock, I would give one of those guy from Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumbles right now.
Sure you don't want to wake up the rest of the fam.
Wife's not asleep yet, but she would come in here and punch me
Straight in
if
the
I
face.
started yelling. I'm right next to the boys' room. That's where my office is. So
All right, just letting
yeah,
these
and
opponents
while
know.
Empy is letting everyone know, I just want to say big shout out to this gentleman, Empy, for putting this together. I mean, done by a true streamer, right? A true tournament person, someone who's done a great job minimizing the RNG of a tournament, having the extended rounds, having the rerolls open, no weird deck stuff. It's a great tournament, well set up, and I think it's definitely it's performed. It's been great.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it really it's gone better than I could have ever expected. And realistically, man, this final is everything I think everybody wanted. So it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
worked out beautifully.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead pause Andy's stream. He's a bit ahead here, and then we're gonna kind of talk about these bans. Bans are just so important. We saw that in both the semifinals matches, how bans and shifting the bans made a huge difference in both of those matches. So I'm really curious to see what both of these opponents do here. So on Andrew's end, he's going to be banning the Bullseye, Nick Fury, and Thanos. Those are 3 rank 4s. We see the emote out of Andy off rip, showing some good sportsmanship. Love to see it with the emote back from Bero there. As on the other end, Bero is sticking with that Okoye ban, also getting rid of the rank 4 Tiger, which was very valuable for Stone in his or for Andy in his semifinal match against Stone. We also see that rank 4 Dark Phoenix gone.
Yeah, good bands, I think.
Yeah, they make
Strong
sense
bands,
on both
good start on
sides.
both sides.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we see Andy go ahead, start off the draft, getting that rank 3 Serpent, very versatile defender, and can be used as an attacker as well. Slower defender to have to take down, even with a champion like Shothra, which BeroMan's picking right now. We also see the Arnim Zola and the Titania out of Andy. He's going to go ahead and grab the Starkey, and potentially maybe we'll see Jugs. Well, it looks like we're going to see Dust, who's a very versatile defender this meta. Looking at the other end, we see Bero with the Photon, Juggernaut, Shothra for the Serpent, and then he also takes that rank 3 Red Skull. So looking like decent drafts on both sides. I think Andy's really going to be looking for maybe a little bit of a better counter for that Photon instead of using that Starkey for her. Of course, Starkey's a great champion, but it can be a little bit difficult sometimes if you get a bad Photon AI or bad crits. We see Bero grab the Gentle and the Titania. Gentle was going to be a major problem for Andy. However, Andy does get that rank 3 Guardian at the very end. We're also going to see Andy grab the Rintra, which should hold that Titania.
Yeah, and he's just an issue this meta.
Yeah, he really is, man. Not being able to parry him makes it really difficult to have to work around that unstoppable. And man, that is actually a huge, huge draft out of Bero at the very end. We typically see Bero in previous season ban that Serpent, but he's letting him fly. He gets the rank 6 Serpent here, so Andy's going to have some trouble against that because he doesn't really have a stand-up counter for that Serpent. So we're going to see that Zola get thrown down by Andy. Makes sense. Oh, switches it to the Dust. Interesting
He does.
choice.
Last second switch up. That is an
Yeah.
interesting choice.
So I think, man, this draft is very even because there's problems on both sides. Does Andy use the Titania here, or does he go for the slower matchup using the Red Skull? We're definitely going to see Starkey out of Andy here. Yeah, Barrow's got to hold on to that Shothra. So he can't use the Shothra. Could see the Juggernaut. That's an even slower fight. I think he wants to save that Juggernaut for the Zola. Even though even though Barrow got the Serpent at the very end there, he he still does have a slight disadvantage in this draft. We're going to be seeing Barrow use the gentle versus the dust. I don't know how well this goes. You have a gentle yourself, so you could probably speak on this better than me.
Yeah, I mean, considering I just gentled an onslaught, it went a lot better than I thought it was, 46K. That said, her crit resistance is going to cause some issue with that, right? He already will get you when you're trying to get those crits on the special two and you don't get them.
Yep.
So I think she's just going to be slowed down. Realistically, if Andy doesn't mess up, this is his round to lose.
Yeah, I have
So
to
far,
agree
so
with
good on
that.
his end. Although,
Ooh,
oh,
oh
that
man, that
proton
is a
beating on him in the
crazy amount of
corner.
block damage. He did not
Oh,
feel
she's so
good.
nasty at rank 4.
Yeah, she really is, man. He had so many debuffs on him. He didn't feel good about
Yeah.
that Dex in that corner. I've done the exact same thing. You just kind of take some blocks, and hope that she doesn't do a full 5 combo into you. However, she did, and Andy took a lot of damage. He does get his fight down fast. Let's
Yeah.
see if Barrow can
I
just
think
hold
if
strong
Barrow
here.
can get back to his special 2 clean and close it on that, he very well may take this round.
Yeah, that's just so much damage taken. You know, I think it's pretty easy to say that Barrow can get at least a 47K here. And
Yeah.
not the start that he was looking for.
Mm.
He's gonna be fighting an uphill battle here too with the
Oh,
Serpent.
he gets the last crit and gets the dub with it.
Yeah,
Wow. Round 1, ladies and gentlemen. We're just getting started.
just getting started, man. And letting both of these players warm up a little bit. You jump straight into a tournament at 10 p.m. at night or 9 a.m.
Yeah.
on Barrow's side in the morning,
Yeah.
and you're probably not as warm as you'd like to be. So we'll see both of these players get even more warm as this match goes. So we will be seeing the Serpent out of Barrow here. Do we see Andy try to use the Titania or the Rintra? I think we're probably going to see the Titania out of Barrow here. Barrow can do a lot with that Shothra, so let's see what
Mhm.
the plan
Mhm.
is. Yeah, we're going to see that Titania. So Titania can shut off the oh, looks like he's going to switch over to Rintra, so I'm not even going to talk about Titania. She can shut off the oh, no, back to Titania.
Yeah,
Um,
he's going back and forth.
yeah, she
Some
can shut off the
indecision on
death
Andy's
immunity.
part.
Yeah, it really is, man. That is a rank 4 Zola on the other end. Could cause a lot of issues for Barrow here. It can be a routine fight, but man, I've seen this fight go sideways a lot this meta.
Yet Zola just goes sideways. His AI is one of the most variable I've run into in this game.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Andy's playing this fight well against this Serpent, but it's gonna be a slow one to start this off. He's gonna need to get to his SP3 and really hope that he shuts off the death immunity. Let's see. It looks like Barrow's playing his fight very well.
He is, yeah. He's setting himself up. Both of them, I think, are doing a good job setting themselves up. Andy's such a pro.
It
The
really
way he
is.
just managed that haymaker there with to not take any damage was brilliant.
We will
And we're in special
see.
threes. Let's see who holds.
Yeah, literally almost perfectly lined up on both ends. Let's see if the Intimidate works for both opponents. Andy's got to get these heavies off. He's getting that resistance. Oh man,
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's got enough range here. Let's see. He's not going to have the debuffs at the very end here.
Oh,
It looks like Barrow pushes Zola to SP3. That is the
he
problem with the
did.
rank 4 Zola. From what I've seen, Titania does not have enough range for rank 4 Zolas. She just
Hmm.
barely has enough range for the rank 3s, so this
Oh no,
doesn't
he's just
surprise
going to be
me.
healing so much now after that.
This is going to be a crazy amount of healing. Andy on the other end just
Yep.
needs to finish this fight out cleanly. Just keep hitting into him. He's going to throw the
Look at
SP1
that.
here. He will get the Serpent down. Huge, huge out of Andy here.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even just so early, I know, but I can't help but wonder if Barrow's going to be looking at getting rid of this Zola after this.
Yeah, that's exactly
I
what
don't
I
know if
was
he can
thinking.
afford it, but rank 4 Zola is just a big, big nasty.
Yeah, he's just too much of an issue. I don't know if Barrow has enough counters for this Zola, so we might see a shift over to the ban on Zola. I just don't know who Barrow drops off if he does decide to ban the
Yeah,
Zola.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, he did have it. He is sitting on a Juggernaut, so
Yeah.
he, I think, was clearly playing that purely for round 3, at least in terms of what he's trying to do.
Yeah, he definitely was. However, on Andy's end, he does have that Rintra that will slow down Shothra as well.
Hmm.
I'm curious to see who gets thrown down here by Barrow. Probably going to be the Red Skull. Does Andy go
Hmm.
with the Serpent or the Guardian?
He didn't even really think about it. Oh, no
Not really
hesitation. He
think
was ready
about
to
it.
go.
So we should be seeing Andy push the Serpent to the special 2. That's going to do a lot more damage with those armors on the Red Skull. On the other end, it's just going to be a pretty routine fight from Shothra, but it's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
as fast as maybe we typically see Shothra fights go.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing about the Red Skull in this meta is he's going to start off with so many of those energizes until he gets to those 10 armors. So we just kind of got to play around that for now. Let's see how Andy does this. Does he bait out one more SP1? He doesn't. He goes straight for the SP2. He could potentially push him to his SP2. Does not. So this is a good start for Andy. On the other end, Barrow's moving.
Yeah, I think Andy knows he's got time. I think he knows he needs to be clean.
Yeah, he does. And Barrow is, this fight is just not as fast. Oh, does take some hits there. That's unfortunately
Meanwhile,
not.
Andy's just flowing smooth, letting his power build, being smart.
Yeah,
I
Andy's
think he's
playing this
probably going
fight
to shoot to end
perfectly.
this.
We did see Barrow get caught with trying to charge the heavy into the SP2. We've seen that a couple
Mm-hmm.
times this tournament where players have been getting hit. He's got this Rintra in the corner,
Ooh,
probably going to go unstoppable. Andy closes out his
yeah,
fight perfectly.
yeah, yeah. Man, what a turn of events.
Really was, man. We
It's a
thought
tight
Andrew
one.
had that round one. Unfortunately, had a little bit of a mistake. But, man,
Yeah,
realistically, I think this one was Andy's through and through.
yeah, yeah. That was interestingly played by Barrow down the stretch. Wonder
Yeah.
how he's going to feel about that one when he gets out of here.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not going to be too happy with that. Maybe he's probably thinking he should have gone for that Juggernaut against the Zola. Kind of a throwdown, but trying to go for the win. Save that Titania for the round 3. It's all in consideration, but unfortunately, Barrow does drop in that first game. Let's see if we see any shifts in these bands here. This is where it gets interesting, man. Definitely same
Yeah,
thing from Andy. You typically see the winning player stick with those bands, and we're gonna see Barrow
yeah, for sure.
stick with his bands as well.
Oh, but he pulled the Serpent now. I don't remember who it was the first time. I'll go back and check, but Serpent was definitely in last round.
Yeah, you are very right on that one. I think it was the Okoye. He's letting the
Yeah,
Okoye
you're right.
rock.
You're right. That's a big shift from Barrow.
That definitely is, man. That's
Interesting.
especially because that worked well in Barrow's favor there that last game.
Hmm.
But he lets the Zola fly. Andy gets the Zola immediately. That's pretty much an auto pick every single game for Andy. Barrow
Yeah.
on the other end does get arguably one of the best counters with Starkey. However, I don't know how that
Mhm.
range is going to work with a rank 3 versus a rank 4. It'll be interesting to see how that happens. And then Andrew's going to grab the Juggernaut as well on his end. Now Barrow's in his draft, looking at that Kushala and the Guardian, two very, very useful champions, especially in this meta.
Yeah, especially with that Zola sitting over there. I know he's got the jug or the Starkey, but that Guardian can do that fight fairly well too. I did see in your chat over here in this stream that Barrow also has a rank 4 Zola, so that's why he's letting that fly. He's probably fairly prepared as he shows up in the draft.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did forget about that part. I think we've seen that rank 4 Zola get banned in Barrow's matches. So forgot that he had it, but that's a good shout. Barrow's going to
Hmm.
get his rank 4 Zola as well. So this is going to be interesting now that Barrow has his Zola. We're also going to
Hmm.
see the Venom grabbed there, whereas on the other end, Andy's got a lot of attackers. Going to need to get some defenders here. And it looks like they showed
Hmm.
up.
And they no kidding, man. Could you get a better set of hey, here's your 5.
Yeah, man,
Pick your poison.
that's going to be
Wow.
tough, man. It's Photon and Rintra, whereas Barrow doesn't have the perfect counters
Yeah.
for either of those. He does get his Photon, though, so that makes things interesting. Do we see the Rintra as well? Potentially not. Maybe we see a Shothra for him to get another attacker here. Doesn't get a great Photon counter himself, though, so this will be interesting to see what if Andy does here at the end. Yeah, we see that Photon and the Rintra. We're probably going to see Andy grab. Yep, the Black
Hmm.
Cat. That's huge for
Hmm.
him here. I want to say
Hmm.
Andy has the draft here again, man.
Yeah, I think that last pull right there at the end gave him the edge. But
Yeah.
now it comes down to placement. You yourself did your videos on the different aspects of BGs, how they put these champs down,
Yep.
and the
Yep.
strategy involved is going to be clutch.
Makes a huge difference. Do we see the Photon used here? He's trying to bait that Photon out. Otherwise, he's going to have to use the
Ah,
Kushala.
yeah.
Does bait the Photon out, so that's actually huge. I believe that opens up Titania. It does for Andy because now Andy can
Mhm.
flip the Black Cat to the Rintra. That was very well played by Andy with the placement there. Yeah, he didn't have to hold that Titania any longer for the Rintra with Photon off of defense for Barrow. I think Barrow definitely should have this round, but the rest of the rounds look like they might be in Andy's favor here. So let's see if Andy has a different strategy against Zola than Barrow did. I just, it's tough to say, man. I just don't know if she has the range to get Zola down in one SP3 rotation. On this other end, we're seeing Barrow just absolutely cook through this Rintra so far. This should definitely be Barrow's round here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, rank 4 Photon. Something else.
Yeah, it really is. And Andy's not going to get the haymakers here. So does Andy? It'll be interesting. I think this round is somewhat intel for Barrow as well to see how well Andy can do this fight.
I think that's a very good point. Yeah, I definitely see that going that way.
Yeah,
He
and
uses a little bit of a different strategy on his Photon fight too. Although I don't question Barrow, I've learned it by this point in time not to question him.
that's
A little
very true.
surprising how he played it up front, but very clean, very
Yep,
nicely done. 50K, just about.
yep. 61 seconds, just about the time that is kind of expected in that fight. Let's see the range here for this Titania versus Zola, and it's
I just
just
don't think he's
not
gonna
enough,
have it.
man. Oh, maybe
No.
if he can get
Uh,
a stand up here with this SP2, he might actually have the range. Let's see. He does get the stand up.
he does get the
Wow.
stand up. Ooh.
I think that would have done it
Okay.
too in the Barrow in the last matchup where Barrow faced the Zola. That
Yeah.
might have done it. So
So it looks like there's some RNG on the end of that fight for sure.
yeah, definitely some RNG. You have to get that stand up intercept, and it's not really guaranteed with a champion like Titania. So but valuable information for Barrow to know that that's kind of the best case scenario for Andy in that fight.
Okay, now Andy gets to drive. Now Barrow gets to basically go pure. How do I want to set myself up for round 3?
Yeah, and it looks like Barrow's throwing down his best defender here with the Rintra. I think Barrow's going to try to get this round win.
Oh, he's going for it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna go for the Starkey Cook.
It'll be interesting to
Let's
see,
see
does
it.
Andy bait some of these heavies out and retaliate with his own heavy? That looks like that's the strat off rip. Let's see how many of these he tries to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Starkey versus Photon actually can be extremely fast if you get really good crit RNG and don't get too many debuffs on you. But this is typically a 60-second fight.
Mm-hmm. Andy
And
being pretty aggressive. He's trying to get ramped up.
yep, and he's ramping up very well. He's playing this exactly how he needs to play it. I think we see one more. Okay, no more heavies. He has 5 cards on him. He's gonna start going for this SP2 here, and this is where we see the health start to really go down for the Rintra. On the other end, Andy's playing his fight
Yeah,
absolutely perfectly. Ooh, this is gonna be close.
it is. Yeah, I think if Barrow doesn't make any
He gets double
mistakes,
crits on the
it's gonna
specials.
be
Can he get
his
the
round to
sidestep?
lose.
Perfect play out of
Oh,
Barrow.
absolutely perfect. So clean.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a
Wow. What a great
statement.
answer from Barrow. What a great
Great
answer from
answer.
Barrow round 2.
And that right there is exactly why he threw that Rintra on defense. He knew that he could win this race if everything went well. Everything did go well for Barrow. Very, very well played on both in his fights and the placement, man. That is why Barrow's one of the
Yeah,
best of the best.
he really is. I mean, to your point, right? Even given the draft edge to Andy,
Yeah.
but with a tactician like Barrow, I mean, you just can't ever count him out.
No, you really
You
can't,
can't ever.
man. Yeah,
It
that
was
was
effectively a perfect Starkey fight.
that was huge from Barrow, man. That I wonder if Barrow sticks with these bans now. I do think that Barrow shifted away from the Okoye ban, now that I think of it, because Andy bans the rank 4 bullseye, so it makes Okoye a little bit less
Mm.
valuable or on
Mm-hmm.
offense.
Very interesting.
Oh, looks like
Very
Barrow's
interesting.
right as I say something I thought was smart. Barrow decides to go right back to the Okoye ban. Um,
He's feeling it out himself.
he
Right,
is
he's
he,
feeling
he
it
is
out
indeed.
himself.
He's not too worried apparently about that serpent. And he does get the rank
Man,
4 Zola. They both get rank 4 Zolas off rip. This will be interesting.
that's wild.
We do see that Titania out of Barrow. I think we're going to see Jugs. We do see the Jugs pick out of Andy.
Hmm.
What does he do with his other option? Does he grab the Shothra due to her versatility? Nope, goes with the Mantis. That does shut down Photon.
Mantis. Yeah, look at that.
And Barrow does get that Photon immediately, but now Mantis is a tough draft pick because you can really play away from that Mantis.
Yeah,
However, on the
it's
other
true.
end, Barrow or Andy should be getting that Photon. Also gets the Rintra. I think this Rintra is going to be a major thorn in the side of Barrow if he doesn't get a counter here. And Andy's going to have an
He
option
walks it
for
off.
the Onslaught, the rank 4 Onslaught on the other end. Does not have a great option yet. However, Barrow does get his best Photon counter. I don't know if Barrow has Mantis
Hmm.
in the deck. Might have Mantis, so that's a little bit of a better counter. But grabbing that wrench or grabbing the Crossbones.
Yeah.
Do we see the Atuma taken as
Oh.
well? Looks like
Oh,
we
he
do.
does. Is he? He's looking at it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
So does Andy grab the
Okay.
dust for defense or potentially to take that Atuma? Does
I
not.
mean, he might grab it for the Atuma. I mean, he's got the Juggernaut over there, but he's yeah.
Yeah, I think that Juggernaut might be used for Atuma, and that Starkey might be flipped over to the Zola.
Oh, okay. And he brings the Enchantress out.
This Gentle could be a major problem for Andy here. I don't know if he has a great counter. He does have Photon, who's probably going to be shifted to offense, but I think he really wants to use that Photon for the rank 4 onslaught on Barra's end. So this is going to come down to placement here, man.
Oh, what a match.
Yeah,
By the way, you have 185 people here watching. Thank
that's
you for
awesome.
being here.
Hey,
Don't
shout out
forget
to
to hit
everybody.
like and sub to this man for getting this done for us.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, so we're gonna see the Gentle here, man. This is gonna be a decision out of Andy that he's gonna have to make.
Ooh. He's gonna put the ooh, is he gonna
I
go Jugs out the gate?
I don't know if he can. Man,
That's
he
he's putting a lot
is
at risk. He's putting a lot into this round.
a lot into this round. Does Barrow go for the safe play in the Titania and have a more difficult matchup against the Zola? Kind of in a throw round. It looks like Barrow's gonna go for
Ooh,
that, so
he is.
Barrow's gonna try to win this round. Titania can
Ooh.
definitely take Enchantress down, but like we've said a lot in this tournament, Enchantress can do Enchantress things.
Oh my lord, does she ever.
And this
He
fight
gets
is
the
not the
spell source.
fastest for Juggernaut because of
Yeah.
his ability, the crit ability. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but you
I
can't
think it's reverb, yeah, or resonance or something, but you can't
resonance.
crit
Yeah,
him too much.
yeah, you
So
really can't crit him too much. Barrow does
yeah.
take a little bit of damage off rip here, losing that 7%, but he's in a really good spot. He just needs to get this Enchantress to not throw in a special here. Goes for the relic into the heavy. Oh my god, I didn't even see what happened on the other end, but Andrew's absolutely
And
cooking this fight.
he's just juggernauting things.
He really is.
Jugs is doing Jugs things. Yeah,
Jugs is doing
he's
Jugs
cooking this
things.
thing
He
down.
just needs this SP2 to kill. That should be
Oh,
enough.
ooh,
Man,
goodness, bro, the health loss. The Enchantress did just enough.
she really did, man. That was massive
Oh,
out of Andy there. I didn't see what happened, but he must have lined everything up perfectly. Maybe got a crit on the SP2. I
he did.
doubted. I
Yeah,
think
he
we
did. He just
both.
lined it up and
He
just
did.
juggernauted.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, yeah. It was good work.
perfect play out of Andy there. And now this is in Andy's control, man. He can throw this Rintra down
Yeah.
and bait out either the Crossbones or the Kushala, making it a really difficult round 3 for Barrow. Barrow has to use that onslaught against the Rintra.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're going to see the Mantis use against this Atuma potentially. This can be somewhat of a fast fight, but there will be damage taken. However, on the other end, Onslaught versus Rintra is not a gimme.
Mm, very true. Though having watched Barrowed onslaught his share of Yelena's recently, if there's anyone I'd trust to do it, it
Yeah,
would be BeroMan.
definitely this guy on the left side of the screen, man. Now we're seeing Andy go for the intimidate, or not the
Mm-hmm.
intimidate. Yeah, the intimidate now is gonna maybe, or is Atuma immune to infuriate?
I don't believe so.
I believe so. Not going
I
for the
don't believe he
infuriate
has
just
those
yet.
immunities.
He's going for the mediums for that extra little power gain here. That's smart plays out of Andy. He's still taking a lot of damage. Still only has 17, so is he gonna try to get to? No, he's just gonna send
I
it
think
here.
he's just gonna go. Yeah. I think
Is
he'll
it
make
enough?
it.
Yeah, it is definitely
Yeah, I
enough,
mean,
but 68% health loss, that's a lot of health loss there, man. Barrow can do this
yeah,
faster than 46k points.
yeah, for sure.
Just needs
But
to
like you
stay in
said,
this rhythm.
Yeah, Andy has his round. He knows what he's doing.
Yep.
Barrow knows what he's doing. I think both guys have been kind of having an eyeball on round three.
Yeah, they definitely have, man. And yeah, that's a great
And it's
shout by Liam there.
interesting.
That was a triple concussion. Had he not gotten a triple concussion, there would have been a lot less health loss, and he maybe could have taken this due to the speed of this fight on the left side of your screen.
Mhm. Very fair.
But yeah, this is definitely going to be taken by Barrow. We're seeing 100% health. It should be about,
Yeah.
yep, a 47k. Yeah, man, that,
Yeah.
that third concussion might have lost it for Andy.
Wow.
So on both ends, we saw a problematic Enchantress AI for Barrow, just problematic enough to tick him down enough health so that Andy could win that round one. Whereas on the other end, we saw that triple concussion out of Atuma. We're definitely playing RNG grounds without a doubt. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well, and to that point in the chat here, AFO made the note that Andy got the perfect RNG in that gentle fight of not getting back-to-back crits.
yeah,
So not triggering that crit reduction
exactly.
allowed him to get more damage throughout the fight.
So yeah, RNG's played a major role so far here for both players. Let's see who has the advantage here, man. I do like Starkey a little bit more in this matchup, but Kushala is very, very fast in this meta. Barrow's getting those
Yeah.
intercepts off. It's looking pretty solid for Barrow so far as Andy's getting ramped up. We're seeing Barrow get these heavies off, has to keep the charges under 20 so that he doesn't get slept. Perfectly plays the spacing on that
Yeah.
SP2. Yeah, we're gonna see this SP1 get thrown, man. This
Oh
this is
my
gonna start going
goodness.
fast.
Yeah, I think Andy just needs to be clean.
He really does because
He
Barrow
he
has
needs to be
taken
so
some health
clean.
loss already. Oh man, Barrow's just taking this down really fast. Oh, Andy gets slept on 20.
Oh
Oh,
no.
that's gonna be it, man. There's the
No.
RNG. That's
Wow.
very, very
Oh, I mean, that
unfortunate.
happens to me all the time. I saw that in the Titania fight. He hit 2, 3, or 4 hits into the sleep and made it out because the percentage chance, but to the point of RNG grounds. Wow.
Yeah, man, that is so unfortunate. That happens to me very often too. I feel like I line it up and I get one extra too many hits, pushes him to 20, and then getting slept on 20. Truth, do you know what the percentage chance is on that?
I believe it's 5% per when you climb past 20.
Perfect. Yeah, so that's a 5%. That's very unlucky. Um, you know,
Yeah.
I'll let chat fact check that on us. Looks like we're gonna see a restart.
Yeah, it makes sense. We are at Oh, you have the score going here.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
makes
Let
sense.
me
Yeah, we're still there.
Let me update the. So Barrow's up 2-1. That was a huge win out of Barrow, man. This has been an exciting final so far.
So it's at 20, it's 10%, and then for each charge over 20, it's 5%.
Yeah,
So there was a 10% chance for that to happen.
10%. Okay. Well, man, 10%.
Yeah.
That's low.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we did
Yeah.
see Andy slam that desk out of frustration. I can't say that I blame him there. I think we've all been there before,
No.
man. This game
Yeah,
is
it's a tough
extremely
one.
frustrating. I think he probably would have had that if he didn't get slept there, but kind of going back to what you said, what Afo had said in the chat is that, man, he got really lucky with those crits against the Gentle. I don't know if he wins that round one anyways without that. So, Kabam giveth and Kabam taketh away.
Too true, man. Like we said in the old days playing hoops, the ball don't lie.
Ball do not lie, man. So, we saw Andy get the first game and now it's flipped over to 2 wins out of Barrow, man. It's just really unbelievable. I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll here too. We're getting a little bit far in enough. So we had Barrow at 60 or 59%, and then Andrew at 40%. So that 1%'s hanging out there somewhere. But um, yeah, we have the prediction out of Barrow, man. We got a lot of Barrow fans in here. We got a lot of Andy fans in here. I'm sure some of those votes were maybe more so who do you want to win over who do you think is going to
Yeah.
win.
Absolutely.
I would say this splits 50-50 for me. I really don't know which way this is going to go, and this match has proved that to be true so far.
I mean, do we expect anything less from the Titans of C1? I don't think so.
Yeah, these two have been just dominant at C1 for so long, and they're proving it here, man. They're proving it why these guys are all the way up there, man. This game is a lot of RNG, but
Hmm.
it is also a lot of skill, and these guys have it.
Hmm.
So now let's
So
jump
we
in
see
this
Barrow
draft.
switching his
Yeah,
bands up again. Yeah, he switched his bands back to the Serpent.
yeah, took that
Andy is
serpent
sticking
away.
with his.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an interesting move.
Very interesting move. We do see Andy so far has not gotten his Zola. I do think, man, it's going to be a major disadvantage if the opponent does not get their rank 4 Zola. On the
Yeah.
other end, BeroMan does have his Zola. Gets also has the photon, whereas Andy does get that counter for the photon immediately with the crossbones, and Andy does have a decent enough counter for the Zola.
He does. I do think that Barrow's probably just looking to get that photon for that Rentra
Yep.
at the end of the day. So we'll be seeing how that Bones comes into play. But now with Gentle on the table, Bones can take that fight pretty well too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So there's a few different options for Andy. I think Andy does also have the um,
Oh, interesting.
okay. So Andy did have the Guardian. We might see Guardian on defense out of Andy as he shifted over to the Mantis. I think you might be right. We might be seeing the Crossbones versus the Gentle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see what he does here. Unfortunately for Andy, that Atuma is completely countered by the Dazzler, so he's kind of a waste of space in Andy's draft so
Yeah.
far. We're going to see the Mr. Sinister here. Oh, switches over to the Rintra. Nope, back to Mr. Sinister. Um, man,
Look at Barrow
with the Viv
rocking the
Vision,
Viv Vision. Respect.
mad respect, man. We don't see Viv Vision often.
Respect.
I personally don't know how well this fight is going to go. Andy needs to win this round.
I think because the special one gives the Fury, it's going to put in a very interesting spot here where Viv might actually do this pretty dang well. Especially given he doesn't have to worry about any of the damage back and just gets to benefit from the Fury the entire time.
Yeah,
This is basically like a rank 3, rank 4 Viv fighting this fight.
but man, this
He's
fight
got the
is going
Hero
down
block
fast
built
for
in.
Andy.
Yeah. Oh, he's cooking.
Can he
And Barrow's
counter
about
this
to hit
head?
his
Oh,
damage cycle.
beautiful plays out of Andy. Gets the intercept here. Just perfect. Absolutely perfect out of Andy. You could not have played that fight any better. Of course, on the other end, as you were kind of watching this Viv Vision, she's doing this fight
Yep.
very well, but it's just not fast enough here, man. I do think that we see this Viv Vision in this deck because Barrow was scouting Andy's deck and probably needed an extra counter for this Sinister. Looks like she works well, just not
Man,
as
just
fast as maybe
shy.
he would
Yep.
want.
Yep.
It's hard to beat a 51K score with a 6-star
Yeah.
versus a rank 4 anyways. So
Yeah.
that's a
I
huge
think
huge round for Andy here.
Andy absolutely cooked that. That was very well done.
Yeah. And now it is a little bit difficult for Andy though. Barrow is kind of missing some defenders here. I'm curious to see what this placement's going to look like. Barrow's by far got the best defender on the board in Zola. Do we see Zola
Yeah.
throwing down here, or do we see Barrow hold on to the Zola for round 3? I just think, man, I don't know what he does
Yeah.
here. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I don't know what else he's got to put down, to be honest.
Yeah, this Rintra's going to be just too slow for Barrow to take down. We will see the Starkey. Hmm. Yeah, and I don't know who places first in the last round here. I think it
I
should be
think Barrow will
Barrow.
place Barrow will
Yeah.
place first. Yeah,
Barrow
because Andy
placing
placed first
first
in
is
frame.
huge for Andy here, man. This is actually lining up pretty well in Andy's favor.
Yeah, it was a rough draft, but getting that first round definitely made it a thing.
Yeah, it was huge, man.
Yes, Samael, Gentle is a hero.
Yeah, Gentle's a hero. So Crossbones is actually surprisingly one of the best Gentle counters in the game, because you
Yeah.
don't need to worry about crits with Crossbones. So it looks
And
like
Andy ramped very quickly. He's doing very nice work with Starkey and gets clipped in the corner by that sneaky Zola.
yeah, and I don't know if Andy's expecting to win this match. Definitely cannot hit in the block here though. Whereas on the other end, we're seeing Barrow just play this fight perfectly, just going to go straight for the SP2, no heavy, off rip to get the crit resistance down. Doesn't seem to care. I think he feels pretty confident that he's going to be able to take this round anyways.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
will
that's
be
fair.
interesting, man. This is kind of more intel. Can this Starkey get the rank 4 Zola down in one SP2?
I mean, those shocks are putting in absolute work.
Yeah, they're absolutely cooking.
Wow.
So it can. So that is huge to know. Of course, he's just wishing he didn't take those hits in the corner and he would have had this round. However, this last round is still looking very good for Andy as we see Barrow take that match by about 1,000 points. That is those health points lost by Andy in that
Mm-hmm.
fight. But this is going to be tough here for Barrow, man. I think we're
Are we
probably
going to
going
see
to be
defensive
seeing.
Kushala here?
Yeah, I think we have to see the defensive Kushala. Barrow has to hold on to
Yeah.
the Dazzler and has to hold
Yep.
on to the Starkey as well. I think we're going to see
Yeah.
defensive
No
Kushala
hesitation.
and
No
defensive Guardian.
hesitation.
Yeah, no hesitation out of either opponent here. I do think Andy has the advantage, but with how difficult AI has been recently with intercepts, I
Yeah.
personally don't feel as confident with Mantis. I definitely would feel more confident with Starkey in this matchup. But if everything goes perfect, this should be Andy's. Yeah, and we're already seeing this problematic AI.
Yeah. Just not wanting to give him the dash in.
Doesn't get that last intercept to count to his points there. Whereas on the other end, Barrow's just getting ramped up here.
Oh, here we
Barrow's playing
go.
that wall play perfectly.
There we go.
Oh man, and he
Oh
unfortunately gets
no, and
hit
Andy got
here.
whacked.
Oh,
No.
no, it's not going to be looking good here for Andy. He would have
Wow.
absolutely had this round had he not gotten hit.
Oh, and
Yeah,
then gets parried. Oh my goodness. And the special that happened to me this season. Aggravation.
yeah.
Aggravation.
By that point, man, it's unfortunate, man. He had already lost by the time that he was throwing that special, anyways. So he's just gonna let it drop here. He had to have a perfect fight. He unfortunately didn't. He got a really difficult Kushala AI. Off rip was not really giving him those intercepts. He definitely could have beaten 41 seconds. He was just about at 100% health. It's tough, man. So we got the
Yeah,
BeroMan.
that's a rough one.
That is a very rough one. So we have BeroMan at 3-1, man. He's coming out hot after losing that first game. So many of these games could have been tilted in either player's favor. It's coming down to
Yeah.
just a small amount of points. We saw Andrew come back down 0-3 versus Stone in semifinals, though, so he has everything it takes to come back here.
Oh, absolutely. Unquestionably.
With that being said, though,
Unquestionably.
I think he needs to win this match. I just don't think, man, 4-1 against Barrow is one of the biggest climbs that you could have in this game. Um,
I couldn't agree more.
I think we got to see Andy win this one, man.
Okay, is he rethinking bans at all? No.
Looks
No
like they're sticking
rethinking
with previous
bans.
bans.
Yep, Barrow stuck with his bans.
So there, Andy gets the rank for Zola, taking that immediately, no thought about it. Um, or Andy gets the Barrow, or Andy gets the Zola. So it looks like Barrow's gonna grab the Starkey here. That's gonna be his counter for Zola through and through, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Do we
Mm-hmm.
see the thing taken here? There's a lot of counters for him.
I can't help but wonder if that's what he's sitting and thinking about right now.
Yeah,
It's a big thing.
big thing, and
And
decides
that's the
not to go
Mantis.
with that. Yeah, gets the Mantis. That's gonna be a good photon counter if photon does come up. We see Andy get the very versatile Kushala as well as the rank 4 onslaught. That onslaught's going to be extremely valuable for Andrew here, I think.
Yeah,
And we do
I think
see
so.
Dazzler taken. We finally get to see the Okoye the first time in this match. I think we're going to see Rintra too. Man, Andy's getting really great defenders that Barrow doesn't have the best counters to.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I will say that Dazzler can cook Onslaught pretty hard.
Yeah, yeah, she definitely
It
can.
requires some cooperative AI, but can definitely be done.
Big draft round out of Barrow. Gets the photon and the onslaught. That's huge. I think we see a reroll out of Andy here. I think he's going to be looking for just a better counter for the onslaught. Gets the photon. I think that's
Oh,
gonna be an offensive photon. Do we also see the Mantis to completely shut down Barrow's photon as well? Oh,
looks
no
like it
photon.
again. kind of expect that Photon to take the Rintra, but you kind of have to hedge against it with the Mantis, I suppose.
Yeah, you really
And
do.
that lack of Photon is absolutely coming back right at this moment in time.
Yeah, I'm really surprised
Ooh,
that Andy goes for the Red Skull at the end there. I feel like he just had to go with the Photon to just use offensively. But man,
yeah.
this draft has completely shifted into Barrow's favor. He has Kushala for this matchup. It'll be interesting to see what he does here. Andrew doesn't really have the best options for either Rintrah or Onslaught. That's what really makes Okoye a difficult attacker to pick. As overpowered as she is in this meta, she is
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately shut down by a lot of different defenders. We're going to see the Kushala versus Rintrah here. Andy has to win this round.
Oh my goodness. What a place to be in. What a place to be in.
So we will be
Barrow,
seeing
of
that
course.
Starkey versus Zola.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, with that powerful SP2 in this meta, that can be we just saw Andrew take that fight. It can be pretty fast. On the other end, man, so can the Kushala, though. She's very juiced up in this meta. However, it's not the best versus Rintrah because of all those buffs that are being placed.
Oh, that's right. Is that between that and the relic interact? Is there still a relic interaction with him
There
too?
might be. This is just not looking great for Andy, man. He does get
No,
the
he
passive
gets
Soul
the
Barb,
yeah. He
but
gets a little parry in.
nice. All right, does he get this SP1 off? He does. That's a lot of Energize. He's getting some passive Incinerates here. Barrow did take some hits on the other end, similar to Andy's matchup. He needs to get a sidestep intercept against the
Oh,
wall here. This is going very fast for Andy now. It's actually looking really good.
yeah, he's doing great.
He's not, yeah, he's going to need to knock down again here before throwing this next special. He needs to bait this SP2 out. He does, but man, that Rintra
Mm,
is ticking down fast. Andy has it.
yeah, and he's money.
Yeah,
And it looks like Zola's got this Starkey cornered and is just beating him
yeah,
down.
not looking great for Barrow over here, but it really didn't matter in the end. That was a perfect fight out of Andy. He needed to win that round, and he did.
Man,
Yeah, now this is in Andy's
backs against
favor.
the wall and just an incredible performance.
Yeah, truly an incredible performance, man. Andy has options all around here. It's going to be interesting to see what both opponents do. I don't think we'll see a Photon on defense. We might see a Kushala again. We will see the onslaught out of Barrow here. Do we
Yeah.
see an onslaught out of Andrew, or does he throw down the Rintra? I want to say he should throw
Man.
down the Red Skull here to bait that Kushala out. He doesn't. Maybe he's a little bit more worried about Dazzler, but man, Okoye could cook that Dazzler. Okoye can also cook the the Kushala as well, man. It's
Barrow's
actually not
deciding if he
looking
wants
good
to
for
go for
Barrow
this
here.
win, I think, right here. Yeah, I think or deciding if he wants to stay alive and what this is going to look like. It's a good move from Andy. Well played after winning that first round.
Yeah, definitely huge. And with Andy here, I think his thought process was let's throw the Rintra down, bait that Photon out so I can use this
Yeah,
Mantis versus Photon. This can be a very
yeah.
fast fight as well on both sides. It'll be definitely probably a little bit more health for Barrow unless he takes a hit. Oh, Andy's already getting hit. All right,
Oh, yeah.
He's done with this round. He's looking at round
I
three
think he
already.
was playing for round three the whole time. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he just wanted the photon out of there because, it was by far Barrow's most, painful defender. I
Yep.
think Andy likes his odds in round three with what each one has on each side.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, all Andy has to do is throw down that onslaught, and he's pretty much set. We're gonna see Okoye. As I was just talking about Okoye, she can get shut down fairly well, but she can also take so many champions. I think we do see her against the Kushala in this round three. She doesn't get those bleeds, but she does get the shocks. That's an awakened Okoye
Hmm.
as well. I assume that Andy has the mastery set up to where he shuts MD off. If he doesn't go for the Okoye, that might be a signal for Barrow that Okoye will not work for Mystics. I do believe in the semifinal match, Andy did take a Enchantress with the Okoye though, so I think he's got
Mm,
the mastery set up.
that would make sense. I mean, anyone I think who's running a Koye significantly this meta is probably rocking that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And I'd be shocked if someone of his caliber wasn't doing that. Like you said, immediately goes down.
We see the Mantis out of
Let's
Barrow.
go.
She can shut
Yeah.
down some of these debuffs. There's so many debuffs that come through for Okoye though, so it'll be interesting to see. It's not the highest Sig Mantis either. Does Barrow, let's see how Barrow plays this fight with the Dazzler. Like you said earlier, this fight can be fast with the Dazzler if
Yeah.
you get some decent AI. But, can he outspeed the Okoye is the question. We're seeing some of these
That's
debuffs
gonna be a
not
tough
come
one.
through, but man, this health is starting to tick regardless. Andy
Yeah, I
needs to bait
mean,
this SB2 out here. This Mantis is just not throwing it. This is not good.
no, not good at all.
Finally gets it, but man, Andy loses the majority of his vicious. Maybe it still won't matter though. Will he go for the stand up? He's probably just gonna let her drop off health here. Yeah, he still has this, even with a difficult AI there.
Yeah. Well, and she's just so good this meta. I mean, what can you really do? I think Barrow probably made the right placement. He's probably going to wrap this up here with this special.
Yeah, he does. Very, very well
Yeah,
played out
he
of
does.
Barrow, but man, it's so hard to outspeed Okoye on the other end if you don't have
Yeah,
a solid counter for her.
absolutely right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's
Are you at all surprised that he didn't place the Kushala there?
I'm a little bit surprised. I feel like the Mantis is just easier to fight than Kushala is. If Andy were to get caught by a special 1 or a special 2, like we're seeing those, that would just be basically an insta kill. Of course, relying on your opponent to make a bad play when your opponent's Andy, maybe that's not the right strategy. But we
Hmm.
saw how easily the Okoye cooked that Mantis. That should have been an even faster fight if Andy got a little bit better AI.
Bro, look at Andy one-upping me. Me with my mason jar over here, but he just busts out the full Crystal Geyser gallon
The whole thing.
of water.
He's
Man's thirsty.
hydrated. He's focused, hydrated.
Yeah.
He's down by just 1 now. It's a 3-2.
Hmm.
Like I said before that match started, I think Andy really needed to win that one. He did. I think we might see a 3-3 here, man. Momentum might be shifting.
Oh, let's go. Let's go, baby. We want 9. We want 9. We want 9.
We absolutely want 9, man. I don't have, it doesn't really matter who wins this for me. I want to see a game 9 in the finals. You couldn't ask for a better script. It would just be so sick. We see Andrew get the Zola and the Juggernaut off rip.
Hmm.
Really hot start for Andrew
Hmm.
in the draft. Also is probably going to get this Photon and the Starkey. And
Oh
you
my
couldn't ask for a
goodness,
better start to
bro.
this draft out of Andy.
No, 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 no. Andy is cooking
He
this
is.
draft.
But ooh,
Can Barrow get something? Ooh, that's
huge,
nasty. That's a nasty
huge.
round.
Yeah, nasty round out of Barrow. Um, Andy still probably has the better counters overall here. Do we see the Onslaught taken, or do we see the Rintra? Maybe we see a reroll. We do see a reroll. He wanted to get that Photon counter.
Ooh,
He did.
yeah.
Maybe we see the Mr. Sinister as well. Ooh, we finally get to see that rank 4
Mhm.
Mojo in action.
Is Big Mojo coming out? Ooh,
Looks
time
like
for
Big
some Big
Mojo
Mojo
might.
energy.
And it's looking like Barrow's also going to get his Photon counter in Crossbones. I don't think we see a reroll here. Does Barrow try to split that Crossbones with the thing, or does he go for the Rintra? Maybe we see Dust too. It's going to be one of these defenders. Let's see what he does here. This could be, okay, it will be Dust.
I like it. He goes with the dust.
Man, at
I
the
like the
very
move.
end, Andy gets okay, looks like he's going to grab the Titania. I was thinking maybe Kushala for the Dust so he could save Starkey. There it is. There's the Kushala. I think Andy has a slight advantage in this draft, but we've said that before, and it's not turned out well. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what both opponents here do. I think we're going to see the Zola on both ends. I think Andrew
Oh,
has that
let's
better
go.
counter with the
Zola
Starkey.
off.
We will see the
And
Kushala.
Barrow
We've
so
seen this
ready to
matchup
go with
already.
that push.
We have seen this matchup already. Kushala can clearly take this Zola down. We saw Barrow do it in about 55 seconds, whereas on the other end, Andy did his fight in just about the same time. It's just who is going to have more health loss here. Neither opponent can
Yeah.
slip up.
Ooh.
Oh, and there it is. There's our first slip up.
Ooh, there it is.
Barrow's,
Yep.
unfortunately dealing with that bad intercept AI. You're really risking it when you go for those light intercepts, whereas Andy can just play this wall here, Let's see how well he plays it. Oh, he gets the heavy in the corner. That's really
No.
bad for Andy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
The one
man.
time we see Zola do some damage. Just
Yeah.
kidding, Grass. Just kidding.
You really cannot let Zola heavy you in that corner. He didn't feel good about that sidestep spacing. He had the sidestep. He didn't
No.
know it. He blocked, and then Zola immediately threw the heavy. That's extremely unfortunate. Let's see if he gets. Oh man, Andy's taking hits here. This is not looking good.
Oh no.
But yeah, man, on the other end, Barrow's taking so much damage. This is just extremely unfortunate for both opponents. Andy drops.
Yeah. Andy drops, and man, this is going to be one of those rounds that Andy's going to come out of, and he's going to be pretty upset.
Yeah, it
Not just
really hurts, man.
how Barrow did it, right? I mean, you got to take advantage when these guys slip up, and
Yep.
he wasn't able to do that
Barrow
this
might get
round.
slept here. He does, but regardless, he still has more health down. Barrow has this round. And 55% health.
Wow.
It's gonna hurt Andy to see this one. Yeah. Yeah,
Emo brothers.
both
Yeah,
of them
let's
had
go.
rough AI there. Man, that is extremely unfortunate. But Andy still could win this. Had he won this round, he would have been set up beautifully to win this match with that Juggernaut and the Kushala. He was just so set. On top of that, having that crossbones for the photon. It was just beautifully lined up. However, Barrow does take that last round. Let's see what Barrow does here. He's going to throw the dust down. That's probably going to be the biggest stall for Andrew. You know, a perfect fight out of Kushala versus Dust here. It could be about 45 seconds. It needs to be perfect. He needs to get those intercepts, whereas Barrow, it's a pretty routine fight on the other side, Crossbones versus Photon.
Yeah. Let's
Oh,
see how
man.
it goes. We've said
We're,
these things before.
yeah, we're already seeing 9 Furies in this match.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just Bones doing Bones things.
he's rinsing it
As
already.
long as she doesn't clam up.
This is a loss. Andrew rushed
Oh
that fight.
no.
You know, in that matchup, you have to bait out one Dust SP2 before throwing your SP2 with Kushala. You know, this fight has slowed down a little bit for Barrow. He did let those Furies drop off. I think we're gonna be seeing him. Yeah, he's gonna refresh him. Um, he just needs to finish this fight out
He
cleanly, and
is,
he has
man.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I say it on my streams, clean over fast. I'm trying to teach people. I'm trying to get in the same mindset myself. You talk about those risky intercepts.
Yeah.
Yeah, clean over fast.
Clean over fast, man. But you know, Andrew felt like he was racing against the time machine there, and you know, clearly
Yeah.
with that 48 seconds, 100% health, he was not wrong. But you know, it's unfortunate. Too little, too late. He does lose this round. We have Barrow at 4 wins here. He's at match point. He needs one more to close this final out. Ooh. Does he do it? Does he take him down, or does Andrew come back? Andrew needs to win 2 more matches that we can get the best, or the game 9 that we've all been looking for and hoping for. I'm rooting for Andy right now, just because I want to see that game 9. But man, it's Barrow's playing out of his mind right now. Unfortunately, both had difficult Zolas there. Either way, they're both playing great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's so easy to sit and armchair quarterback, right, and nitpick from out here when we're not the ones in there with the thumbs doing the things, but it's also important to remember, I mean, these guys are absolute top tier players. I know the gameplay might not always look super tight, but don't be fooled. Again, C1 Titans matching here tonight.
They absolutely
In
are,
this
man.
case, for cash.
For the big money, the big $500, the number one place in the first potentially annual MP Top 30 tournament.
Ooh, the teaser. It's only a professional.
We're trying to get there, man. But yeah, we see restarts out of both opponents. I'm glad that they both did that. We might see this timer run out. Man, what do you think Andy has to do here to come back?
Ah, I think he just needs to rehone his focus and lock in on his execution. I think there's been a couple of times where we've looked at it and said, "Hey, he looks like he's in a good spot in the draft." And at the end of the day, it's come down to, some wall dexes, some getting intercepted when you're trying to intercept. I think if he just cleans that up, I know he feels like his back's against the wall, right? Barrow's so great at applying that consistent pressure of high performance, but just locking in and focusing not on who he's playing against, but not beating himself, I think is where his head needs to be.
Yeah, those are great points, man. We have seen a couple little gameplay slip ups out of Andy, and that can happen at any point. But man, when you're in the finals of a tournament of this caliber, you have to play perfectly. And you're right, man. I think the pressure that Barrow puts on his opponents, knowing that Barrow's probably going to be doing his fight absolutely perfectly, it makes it really
Hmm.
difficult for opponents to not try to rush through their fights. Just play it slow, cool, calm, and collected and
Yeah,
just see what happens on the other end once you get out of that match.
exactly.
And
Andy with
so,
the early reroll.
yeah, early reroll, he did not like that draft. When I was looking at it just now, I didn't like it either, so it does make sense. We do see Andy go for the Okoye. That's going to shut down a decent amount of Barrow's defenders, but not a lot. We also see the Rintra taken. We're seeing Rintra taken on both sides. Barrow has that Starkey, which is potentially a better counter. Do we see the Atuma, though? Looks like we do. And Andy does get that Juggernaut and the Zola. Those are massive picks there.
Yeah,
Andy
those
has,
pulls.
yeah, he has counters for both of BeroMan's defenders as it stands. However, Barrow does get this next round. It's looking decent defensively, offensively, maybe not so great. Any of these three defenders that Barrow takes here are going to be a major problem for Andy if he
Oh,
does not get a
there it
counter.
is.
Yeah,
Oh, and the immediate counter to that big thing.
yeah, immediate Black Cat, and I think we also potentially see this Photon here, man. This really opens
Yeah.
up the draft for Andy. Man, this is huge. Does
Oof.
Barrow? Barrow does get the counter
Immediately.
for the
Oh,
Photon,
heartbreak,
man.
man.
Definitely heartbreaking. So Barrow's going to be using the Spider Ham versus the Rintra. He has that Mantis for the Photon, and he also has Starkey. That's going to be for the rank 4 Zola. This is the first draft I believe we've seen Barrow not get his rank 4 Zola, though, so this could be huge for Andy. He needs to win this upcoming round. This is his best defender.
Yeah. I think that's what the decision he made, right? He made the decision of I'm taking round one. Here's my Zola. I feel like I can take anything you put down, put it in front of me, and I'm gonna get it.
Yep. And we're gonna see the Kushala versus the Dust. This is definitely in Andy's favor, but man, Dust has given a lot of players hell this meta, especially with Kushala.
Hmm.
We've seen Andrew have some difficult matches in this fight. So I'm sure he doesn't feel terribly confident about it. We're seeing a medium off rip. He's gonna get that intercept. We just need a clean fight out of Andy. He should have this. That rank 4 Zola might just be too much for Barrow on the other end. We see Andy get his SP2 off, does not bait out the
Yep.
SP2 from Dust. Got a little bit lucky on those energizes there. Good start, though, out of Andy.
Oh yeah. Oh, there he is. He's in a good
Oh, yeah,
flow.
there's the flow. That's exactly what he
He's
was
in a
looking
good
for. He
flow.
needed that intercept, and now this
Oh,
fight
and the
is.
nasty relic parry.
The relic parry is definitely crazy there, man. That might be costly for Andy. He can't get that knockdown, so he's gonna need to throw this SP1 for the extra knockdown. This
Yeah.
Dust is melting, though.
Oh man, but he's got a little bit of health
Oh man,
loss.
Barrow has so much health here. He just needs to throw the
Oh.
special. Oh, Barrow gets hit in the corner.
Ooh, clipped in the corner.
Clipped in the corner. If he was just able to back off and get that SP2 off, he would have potentially had this round with the amount
Wow.
of health he had. Ooh.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that would have been very close. Even with that extra health, it might have been a little bit too slow. But we're talking all about these matchups and how difficult they can
Hmm.
be. Man, it's still not out of Barrow's hands here though, man. I still think he actually has somewhat of the better defenders here. Of course, getting that Mantis at the end was so clutch for Barrow. I think we see Andy just send it and try to win this round.
Yeah, I was thinking that was exactly what I was gonna ask you. Do you think he just goes for the win here?
Ooh,
Oh, it sounds like he's thinking.
does he feel
Oh,
better? It
okay.
looks like he's feeling a lot better about that Black Cat versus uh the what's it called? The
The
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um Man, and of course, Mantis versus Photon, it can, like we're talking about these intercepts, it can
Yeah.
slip up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe he's hoping for that. This should be a very fast fight out of both opponents, but Andy should be taking some health loss here. We do see two concussions. I think Andy was just hedging against that third concussion when he went for the photon on defense. Oh, Barrow did take some hits though.
He did. He did. I think if Andy can wrap this like immediately, he's gonna take it.
Yeah, he goes for the relic.
Yep.
Beautiful. And man,
Oh, it
Photon
doesn't have the distance.
doesn't
Yep.
have the distance with the Mantis. Had just a difficult fight there, difficult AI. Photon's gonna drop Barrow there. Andrew obviously has his back against the wall. He has to win every single match from here on out. Andrew's gonna push this to a game 8. This is awesome.
Let's go, baby. We knew it was coming. If there's anything we learned, and I was talking to someone about this in Discord earlier today. How could you look at what Andy did last round? That was a weird whiff on Barrow's side, by the way. Gotta love this Mega Buggy Trash video game.
Yeah,
I
gotta
was
love it.
talking about, I think Andy showed us so much going down 3-0 versus Stone and the way he stormed back. Just locked in, executing, tenacious, and really, like in my head, he's the only player I've ever watched who will wake up on a day and be like, I want 400 points today. I'm going to go get it.
Yep.
And that just felt like another version of that. And I feel like that's where we're getting to now is Andy's going, okay, like it's clutch mode. Give me the ball. I want the shot. I'm going to go try to take this thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. You know, if there's anybody who's gonna have his back up against the wall, it's gonna be a player like Andy. But of course, on the other end, he's playing a phenomenal player in BeroMan, who I also do not want to be facing in a tournament either. These two are just going at it, man. You know, it really comes down to who's going to make that little mistake. And we saw Barrow finally make those mistakes last match. Can Barrow
Hmm.
play this fight or play these matches upcoming perfectly to close this out? Or will Andrew push us to a game 9?
Yeah. And hopefully Andy can get to like what I was saying before, right? Hopefully that last round settled him a little bit to say, I just need to fight my fights. I
Yeah.
can't worry about Barrow. Let me put some defenders in front of him. Let me play my game and see if I can take this thing.
Yep, and just focus up. And off the rip, we see Andy get the rank 4 Zola. We've been talking about this all match. If Barrow does not get his rank 4 Zola, I think regardless of what happens with the rest of this draft, he's going to be at a disadvantage. We see a reroll out of Barrow here. He's going to go ahead and grab the Photon and the Spider Ham. Do we see Andy go for this Black Cat to counter the Photon, or do we see something different? Looks like he's going to grab the Juggernaut, and he's also going to get the Black Cat. Black Cat is a decent
Yeah.
counter for Photon. She's not the best counter for Photon.
Yeah. Agreed. I think he also hedged against the pig a little bit as well. So I,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I can understand where he's at, right? You never know what's going to come in the draft.
yeah, exactly. And, you know, you have to take Juggernaut when Juggernaut shows up, honestly. You know, if you pass up on that Juggernaut, you're going to be regretting it. We're going to see this Lumitrix taken, and, you know, we're talking about you really want to have that Juggernaut when he's available. That Juggernaut's
Yeah.
going to be huge for the Lumitrix. We're going to see Andy also, he's going to pass on that Photon because Barrow has the Mantis from that round 1. He's going to get the Onslaught, and he's also going to get the Okoye. This is really huge for Barrow here, man. Or excuse me, Andy. He's got the draft, I think. Ooh,
Yeah.
that
He's
does
in a
could
good
cause some
spot.
problems though. I think we're going to see the
That's true.
Titania out of Barrow here. He needs a better Onslaught counter than Starkey.
Oh,
This would be really surprising. I feel like he needs that Titania. Goes for
I think he's looking to go away from the Starkey versus Zola.
Okay, so we see Andy re-roll from a Kushala back to a Kushala. Gotta love those
Oh my
re-rolls.
lord.
I still feel
Kabam, fix our
like,
re-rolls, please.
yeah, I'm a little surprised in that re-roll there, man, that he had a gamble there. I still feel like Kushala is a really solid option for us. Clearly, Andy may not feel very comfortable with that match. Luckily, she
Yeah.
comes back to him, and, you know, that's
Yeah.
probably the fight that we're going to be seeing there. Who do we see on defense here, though, man? Andy has 2 amazing defenders, and the rest of them are just attackers basically. So Andy
Yeah.
needs to win this round realistically. Gonna throw down his best defender in Zola here.
Okay. Oh, Barrow goes straight to the Starkey.
Yep.
Barrow goes straight to the Starkey. Interesting.
Oh man, we need a good dust here for Andy, man. She just cannot do these little buggy intercepts. Does not give him the first intercept, goes for the medium intercept, gets that. As on the other end, we're also seeing this Starkey. We just saw this match last round, or we saw these rounds last match from both opponents. This is a really, really good start for Andy, though.
Yeah, he's absolutely playing the first part of this fight perfectly.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be able to
And
get
let's see
up
if
to
Barrow can
probably
do
an
what he needs to
SP1
do.
here. Man, Barrow, he wasn't able to ramp up once he started getting those hits. And
Yeah.
man, yeah, we should see this SP1 thrown. This should be a lot of damage coming out here for Andy. This is absolutely huge for him. Dust does throw that special. Can Andy get intercept? I think Andy just needs to play this one
Oh
safe. No, takes some
no!
hits there, unfortunately. Barrow on the other end has full health. Man, I just think Andy could have played that one super safe. Barrow's going to come out of this with 100%
Yeah,
health. This should be a win for Barrow, man. This is...
yeah,
Oh, yeah, those shocks are going to take him down. All Andy had to do was just play extremely slowly there, man. We see, unfortunately, Andy loses that. It's still by 1,000 points, so maybe it wouldn't have mattered. Man, that is extremely unfortunate. Now the ball is completely in Barrow's field. He has that photon on defense that's going to really, really slow Andrew down. I don't know if Andrew has the defenders here to win this one, man.
yeah, yeah. Especially with him having to place now,
Yeah,
Barrow's kind of in the driver's seat.
exactly. And we're definitely going to
Comes
be
down to.
seeing Barrow throw this round. We're probably going to be seeing the Guardian thrown on defense. Yep, we will see the Guardian. Now
Yeah.
we're just going to see Juggernaut versus this. It should be a fast fight. Man, had Andrew won that last round, he would have been perfectly in the driver's seat here to win this. But unfortunately, fell a little bit short. Now Andrew has to deal with a rank 4 Photon with his rank 3 Okoye. Not sure if he's going to do the Okoye lock. It's not banned in this tournament. Either
Mm-hmm.
way, Andrew has to win this fight here. And it looks like on both ends, both players are kind of getting into their rhythm here. This isn't going to be the absolute fastest fight for Pig versus the Onslaught. Unfortunately, Onslaught throws that SP1 pretty much immediately. On the other end, Andy gets the SP2 off with the unblockable. Should be finishing this
Yeah,
fight in no time.
yeah. He's just donezo. I mean, Juggernaut doing Juggernaut things. To your point, you see Jugs, you take Jugs in this meta,
Exactly.
and that's exactly.
And yeah, man, this is why we were talking about Andy would have been in just a perfect position had he won that round one, because he had
Mm-hmm.
that Juggernaut for anything that was on the board. That is going to be a 30-second fight, and he also just had defenders that would have slowed Barrow down just enough.
Mm-hmm.
However, now
Mm-hmm.
Andy's in a difficult spot, no extra defender back against the wall. He's gonna probably need to throw down the photon here. It's unfortunate. I don't love it, but that's what he's going to have to do. Barrow's going to be able to use Mantis or Lumitrix. He could use either champion at his disposal. This is definitely
Mm-hmm.
looking like it's in favor of BeroMan taking this in 8.
Yeah, I would say that that's very much where we're at. I think there's going to need to be a small miracle
Yeah, definitely.
to get
And,
this to a game 9.
you know, looking at this, Barrow did place first, so, we're looking back and it's like maybe Andy should have just thrown the dust round,
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
hindsight's 2020, man. He felt
yeah.
decent about it. This is not looking great for Barrow. Anything can happen though.
Yeah,
We're dealing with these intercepts.
yeah,
Barrow's gonna have to bait out the haymaker here.
yep.
Okoye versus Photon isn't the fastest fight, but it's definitely faster in this meta with the juiced up shocks and bleeds. We're gonna see Barrow. Yep, he's gonna bait out this haymaker. Yeah, he's going to get that heavy off. Now he's in the perfect position. Doesn't really have to go for anything risky in this fight. Just needs to play safe. On the other end, Andy, he's getting this photon down, but man, it might not be fast enough, unfortunately. Barrow still hasn't built up against this Titania just yet, though, so not the fastest fight for Barrow. Do we see Andrew go for the SP1 rotation here and go for
I
the
think we're going
Okoye
to see
lock?
him do it. I think we're going to see him try to lock it out.
Now we're going to see the Intimidates come out of Barrow here. This is actually somewhat potentially could be very close at the end here, but
Oh my
Barrow's gonna
goodness.
be able to get the SP2 off with 100% health.
Oh,
This is
dude, I think
extremely
Andy's going to
tight.
take it.
This is
I think
extremely tight
Andy's
at
going
the
to take
very
it.
end.
We got game
We
9.
got game
Let's
9.
go.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Andy clutches it out.
It happened. Oh my goodness. We have a game 9. You couldn't have scripted it any better. We got 4-4 on both sides, man. Unbelievable.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
Unreal, man. That he had to play that fight absolutely perfectly with the Okoye lock. He did. Barrow got a bit of a stingy AI, man, but he played it really slow and safe, just
He
expecting that
did.
he could. He didn't know how absolutely perfect Andy was playing on that other end. Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh
we have a
my
game 9
goodness.
in the top 30 Battlegrounds Summoners tournament. Again, you couldn't have asked for a better match. I think we're gonna see the same bands here, man.
I think so. I think both of these guys gotta kinda love where they're at, other than the fact that they realize they've made it to 9, and this is all for all the marbles, baby. Oh, let's go.
Yeah, this is, it's unbelievable, man. We're seeing the same bands. Let's jump straight into this draft. Andrew's gonna get the Red Skull off of the round one. I'm sure that's not exactly what he was looking for out of his round one
Mm,
draft. Not a terrible champion to get, though. I think we're gonna see that Rintra and Titania out of Barrow. We do.
yeah.
And man, do we see the Rintra out of Andrew here, or do we just see a reroll? I don't think he loves this round. Obviously, taking the crossbones could be valuable to. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's feeling good enough to go with Crossbones and Rintra here. Potentially could go Enchantress. That is huge. We saw Barrow
Yeah.
struggle against that
Yeah.
Enchantress earlier. She can do Enchantress things. Could be huge.
Mhm.
However,
I think so, I think both of these guys wanna hold those rerolls for later, right? You
yeah,
don't wanna blow that thing too
yeah.
early.
Speaking of holding the rerolls for later, I think we see a reroll out of Andy. I don't think he's happy with this round. It's really unfortunate. I would hate to see a player lose on draft here. I want to see it super tight. We don't see the reroll, surprisingly. He's going to try to split
No.
that Titania with both Rintra and Enchantress. Does Barrow get a
Okay.
counter here at the end?
Oh, he absolutely does. Yeah, he
Yeah.
absolutely does. That rank 4 photon shows back up.
The Photon does show
Oof.
back up. Of course, Andrew
Ooh.
has a counter for that. We see maybe a reroll out of Barrow here. I think both opponents are looking for that rank 4 Zola. Barrow does not go for the reroll, gets the Penny. Penny's going to be a major problem for Andy. No
Ooh.
counter for Penny yet. Or, I mean, you do have the Juggernaut there. Gets his rank 4 Zola. Does Barrow get the rank 4 Zola in this last round? If he does, I think this draft is in major favor of Barrow. He needs this rank 4 Zola. No Zola, but does
Yeah.
get the Starkey. That's going to be the counter for Zola. Ooh, this is going to be tight, man.
Oh my goodness.
Andrew has a
Okay, Andy
path
playing
here.
defense first.
And
Defense
yep,
first for Andy.
and he places defense first because he was the lower seed in this tournament, so that's why he's inviting in game 9. We're going to see that Red Skull first. That's a bit surprising. Arrow does have the Venom for that. That should be somewhat of a fast matchup, whereas on the other end, we're probably going to be seeing Shothra versus Rintra. Both kind of surprising placements here, I think. Man, it's going to be tough. Barrow has so many defenders here that Andrew has to deal with and just doesn't have
Yeah.
ideal counters for. If Andrew can pull this round out, he's in a beautiful spot to win the whatever match he has Juggernaut for.
Whoa,
Ooh, we
whoa, and Barrow goes with
see
the Starkey.
Barrow wants to win this round very clearly. It makes a lot of sense, but man, that does make that rank 4 Zola a lot more scary for Barrow. Man, these were surprising placements
That
out of
was an
both
amazing
opponents.
pull. Yeah.
And Andy's just gotten 7 of those charges already. He might have to throw a heavy here to bring him down a little bit. Does throw that heavy. Is probably gonna he's gonna back up throw the SP1. On the other end, Barrow has a really, really, really solid, safe fight here. As long as he gets these crits, Red Skull does have crit resistance on his end.
Yeah. He does. I mean, Starkey's just got so much.
Yeah, and this fight's going extremely well. Gets the crit on the heavy. This should be Barrow's round to win. He's just gonna play this sidestep against the wall. This should be finished here with a relic into an
Oh,
SP2.
wow. Yeah, absolute. Didn't even get to the special two.
Yeah,
Starkey's busted.
didn't even have to think about it. However, Barrow does place first in the second round, so he can't just easily throw this next match. I do think that we see Barrow throw down. Man, who does Barrow throw down here? It's tough to say. I think realistically, Onslaught and Penny are the two defenders that Barrow is looking at right now. Whereas on
Yeah, I
the other
agree.
end, Andrew could potentially just juggernaut whatever Barrow throws down this round, and then he's going to have to deal with
Hmm.
probably Penny in the round 3.
And I'm assuming he would want to bones that.
Yeah, he's gonna definitely want to have to. He's gonna have to bones the penny. That can be a fast fight. He can get a bit unlucky with the auto block, so it's gonna be really interesting to see how both of these opponents play here. I really do think we're either gonna be seeing penny or onslaught here. Bero really wants to bait out that juggernaut, so we do see the penny.
Yeah.
Do we on the
Yeah.
other end see the Zola thrown down here? I think he has to go for it. Bero does have
Yeah.
Titania for that matchup. It's not the easiest or safest. It's doable though. Now I think we absolutely have to see the crossbones used on this Penny Parker here. Oh, but we can't see the crossbones used because Barrow does have the photon. That's
Got
why
the
we saw the
photon.
Penny Parker get thrown down here. We have to see the
Wow.
Rintra versus the Penny Parker, man. We gotta see a crit out
Oh
of the
my
Rintra.
goodness.
This is unfortunate for Andy, man. Barrow's played this absolutely
Oh my
perfectly.
goodness. Yeah, that was a sneaky, sneaky placement. I did not catch that.
Yeah, I didn't really catch that either. I didn't even think about the fact that he split Penny between both Rintra, or excuse me, both Crossbones, and who gets auto blocked here. This is not looking good. But split the Juggernaut between the Penny and the Onslaught. He's gonna get the SP2 here. He's gonna try to take down this Penny. He does have a lot of ruptures, but he's still very far away from his special too. He
Yeah.
needs to keep stacking these ruptures. He does not want Penny to throw an SP1 just in case she gets too many charges here. We see on the other end, Barrow's playing this fight absolutely perfectly against the Zola. Does he have enough range with this one Haymaker to win this? It's going to be really tight. Andrew's going to try to get some more ruptures here probably. Does
Oh
not want that SP1
no.
thrown. Does get the SP1 thrown. He can have an unblockable special 2 here. Oh no.
He's backing off.
He's
Oh
backing
no,
off.
and then the
Yeah, it's
accidental
the accidental
parry.
parry. On the other end, Barrow plays his
Meanwhile,
fight perfectly against Zola.
wow.
Just perfect
Wow.
play. Amazing match out of both competitors. Barrow takes it in game 9. Andrew just unfortunately did not have the draft. Barrow played it extremely smart. He went for the round 1 win against against the Red Skull, man, and it's just too much. This Penny was way too much. I think this was the first time we saw Penny all game too,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah,
and,
it really was.
and Andrew did not get his rank 3 Starkey. I think that really hurt him here. He didn't really get the
Yeah.
draft that he was looking for. But really, you got to look at that other end. Barrow just took down a rank 4 Zola with Titania in 66 seconds. Played just phenomenally. Congratulations to Barrow. What a tournament. You really couldn't have gone any better than expected, man.
No, I mean, could we ask? We didn't ask for any more than game 9. We didn't ask for anything more than C1 Titans clashing. Most of us know the history. All here on the line, all public, top 30 tournament, cash monies, and these guys did not disappoint. What a
Yeah,
wild match. What a wild final round to wrap it all up with Barrow showing us all why he's Barrow, right? The great tactician of the game.
yeah. I mean, he at that last draft, it could have gone either and onslaught and photon. It just with how Barrow just lined everything up there, it was just absolute perfection. And I think the best player in the world just won. As we see Barrow in C1 right now. We'll see if he can hold it.
Yeah.
Congratulations again to Barrow. Shout out to Andy. Looks like he ended the stream. I appreciate both of these opponents coming out, playing their hearts out, going to game 9. Just couldn't have asked for a better tournament ending.
No, no, we couldn't have. And again, thank you so much for spending so much time, effort, and energy getting this together. What an incredible, just incredible thing for the community. I think they've been enjoying it. I know I've been enjoying it, and I really appreciate you allowing me to commentate with you. I've had a great time.
Of course, man, it was an absolute blast. You killed it. I think everybody in this tournament killed it. All of the people watching, major shout out to you all. I want to say we'll be back in the future. Probably not for a few more seasons, but I think we'll try to make this happen again. And yeah, I think we're pretty much going to close this one out. I think we got a raid here coming soon for our boy Dread, the one
Is
and
Driddler
only.
live?
Yeah, I don't know if he's live
He
yet.
better
We're
be
gonna
live, bro.
Yeah, we need
to buy some
the
time. Come on, Dread.
potentially need to bide some time. But let's switch over here real quick. We're gonna look at the brackets. Jump over to
You
Barrow.
close it out. It's a
Yeah,
good buy some time.
good way to buy some time at the end here.
Worst case, I'm sure you could hop in a GC match for us.
Ain't no way I am parked. Oops, this is the bracket. Alrighty, let's open up the full bracket here. Yet again, phenomenal ending from both of these opponents. 4-5, Barrow takes it in the final game. Look at this full screen, man. Major shout out, as we have down here, our third place matchup. Shout out to Misery for getting third place. Shout out to Barrow for taking
Yeah.
first place. Shout out to Andy for locking in the second place here, man. Just an epic tournament.
So epic. So epic. I mean, we had some people who fell out. Other people stepped in for him and absolutely crushed it. You see Jackie going 3 rounds deep. That was just great work on his end.
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
Stone coming through with those skills and roster of his, pushing Andy to the limit. Andy coming in, pushing Barrow to the limit. Man, amazing
yeah,
stuff. And let's not forget, by the way, guys, Barrow didn't lose a match until last round.
yeah.
Barrow was rolling as much as anyone can roll in this game through the highest levels of competition.
Yeah, and some great players too, man. Just to be able to 4-0 Rook, who beat me pretty handedly, 4-0 Doppel, who is one of the just sneakiest best players in this entire game, and then he almost 5-0'd Misery. I mean, he would have 4-0'd had it been semis, or had it not been semis, but he almost 5-0's Misery. Misery came back just a little bit, um, but man, just played so dominant throughout the tournament, and then faced the best guy on the other side of the bracket and brought it to 9, man. And hopefully we got Dread going live here pretty soon. Oh, it
It
looks like
looks
we
like
do.
he's on the
Looks like he
stream
is
is
live.
starting screen. Yes, sir. Let me
We'll
tag this on over for y'all.
throw this in chat.
Ah,
Beat you
imagine
to
being
it.
so slow.
All right, we're gonna call that the hashtag top 30 raid. Again, shout out to everyone who played in this tournament, everybody who participated. Shout out to our sponsors as well for sponsoring this tournament and making it happen. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, we're gonna end it here, man. It's pretty late. So again, thanks for watching. I'll let Truth say his last words here, and then we'll go ahead and end this.
Hey, just thank you so much again. I couldn't imagine a better tournament put together. Couldn't imagine a better result, and couldn't imagine working with a better dude to get it done. Really appreciate it. Community, give this man some love. I'll see you all soon.
Appreciate it, man. Alrighty. Everybody, have a great rest of your night or day, whatever time of the day it is, wherever you're at in the world. Go ahead, jump over to Dread's stream. He's a phenomenal streamer, super cool guy, playing great this season. Show him some love, show him that top 30 raid, and yeah, we will be back. Peace out, everybody.
Oh, peace.